Hello and welcome to the 20th Both Cameroonian Arts Award on set. My name is Foo Chi Wei and I would like to introduce the nominees of Best Music, Sound, Design in Dance category. Today we have Geetha Shankaran-Lam from Samskara, Past Reflection, Present Expression, and Ken Lee from Beyond Moving with Artisans Rattan Weaving Contemporary Dance. Welcome to On Set, everyone. Let's begin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Geetha, I understand that Hari is not here. You're representing Hari. How proud of you as a mother working with your son and he got nominated?
Well, first and foremost, I am grateful and I feel honored for the fact that we got nominated and also to have Hari be part of this winning accolade. It's already, I think, something I envisioned when I wrote the script.
Oh, good.
I envisioned that Samskara was going to be in a good place because it is a production that had value at my age, writing the script for a senior citizen kind of an artist, and also to have invited Hari to be part of it. So when he said yes, that was also a dual thing, as an artist and also as a parent or a mother who's been so long in the industry. So of course, it gives me pleasure and also gives me joy. And I'm extremely honored because he is a good musician.
That's wonderful.
A local trained musician.
That's very good. Could you share to the viewer the meanings of it? What is it all about?
Samskara is a Sanskrit term which reflects on past vasanas or past, if you're a Buddhist or if you're a Hindu, you believe in past life. So
that's your thing.
Yeah, and we talk about the production. I mean, as a performer, I've always believed that I'm in this place because of good karmas from the past. So with that steady faith, dance just doesn't come to anyone. And having stayed in it for so long, just when the world thought she's going to quit or it's going to not happen, I've remained for this long and have raised 3 children and a family in the arts, as how Malaysians know me as. So, Samskara is about the sense of gratitude I have in life, and the production was to return back to performing arts at this age when women are forgotten. And artists are left behind. Maybe sometimes they always feel for a woman it's challenging. So I wrote the script basically to make the statement that if I can remain relevant, a younger person has to start making the steps in the necessary way. That's what
true.
Samskara is about. Past reflections. It's about the gratitude of a life that's been lived so long, and to bring back the present expressions of where I am today at 56. Or last year was 55. That means it's retirement age. But do we retire as artists? No.
No.
So that's what Samskara is about. You know, it's what I love best and what I know best.
That's very good. That's part of the reason why you stage it at Sutra as well, I presume.
Yes. When I chose the venue, I had to find something that was suitable because of affordability and also to return to a place that is central to my own creation as an artist. I was a dancer already doing my stuff in my early teenage. But the embarkation of such glory came when I became part of Sutra Dance Theatre. And then the label of being the first Odyssey-trained Malaysian dancer, and my everything happened there, the blossoming of my mind and my personality. So what I wanted to do was, I thought about several venues, but then I looked at it as, I want to make the statement of being someone who doesn't have the financial support. And as a mother or a woman at this age, where do I begin? So when I spoke to Ramni, he said, yeah, why not? Welcome. You're welcome to do. And I wanted nature around me. So it's also the dance of the feminine. And that's why I chose Sutra, you know.
Yeah, for Ken, traditional weaving is very tactile and visual process. Could you share to the viewer what your show is about?
I think for my understanding, actually is really come from the uncle himself. He's like actually he's supposed to be
traditional weaver that Beijing is approach, yes.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be the core of the whole show. But unfortunately, when I'm really the last person who get into the production, and when when I joined the production, he already passed away. Yeah, so that I'm going through the process, like from the video to look at him and to see the object that left for people, for his son, and his son also very helpful. So that I always look at those rattan, because I did collect some of the leftover material from him, and then from that I just trying to, I think more important is to tell me about the connection, how we're dealing with our life, not just the rattan itself. I think it's beyond than that, because I also been through, my father passed away for last year. Before I joined this show, my father passed away, and then after like a month, then I go into this production. So a lot of interesting relationship for me, like to seeing people living sickness, death. So
you do tap into the sound, the music that you design, tap into that role of storytelling then?
Yeah, you can say so. That's why I think this is more, something also more beyond that. Just look at this traditional rattan, because rattan also getting like fade away. People like slowly forgotten this traditional weaving technique, and this industry, they also call it like a sunset industry. So yeah, I can see the relationship between this with human is something slowly fade away. Somehow maybe we can say to learn to accept it, because things is grow as life and is go fade away, is death, right? It's dying, but I'm not so sure. But I think it is a good reminder during the whole process, so that how we gonna treat this industry, how we gonna look at it, and also same as a human, a people.
But I'm very curious that when you learn to do traditional music through other people's instrument, do we actually like cultural appropriation, or do we actually, are we allowed at this time of age? I don't understand that when people say, "Oh, you're taking my instrument, you're making sound that's not our sound," or things like that.
I think you need to see like which artist you work with, and also what's your intention before you want to use. I think it's
intention is very important.
Intention important.
No, like I'm interested in knowing, because in the 70s and 80s, when we talk about some of the musicians we love today, they explored just jamming sessions, and they just got together to play the instrument. And we say indie music today is light-hearted or just jamming sessions. I don't know what did musicians do in the 70s and 80s,
I think it depends which category, but for traditional indie musician, but they still really effort to do it. They really not just jamming, they come up a good song and then spend some time, because some of them also without any music training.
Yes.
Then they're willing to just spend the time to figure out what's going on with his guitar, and how they if they wanna blend in with a gamelan or something. What can they do? As I see some of them, yeah. But now, although I'm more going to the so-called the theater circle, direction. So, and I always work alone. I mean, as music part, I work alone, but not really that alone, because I also work with dancer, actor, or the director.
How do you invoke emotion with your sound design to these pieces?
I think mainly I always let Beichin to lead me to the dynamic of the whole performance, and somehow I don't really like exactly use the rattan sound, because it's flexible, but it's beautiful. Because the rattan sound to me, in my memory, is when my mother hit me with rattan.
We all have that, right?
You had the whoosh, the sound. So that's remind me a lot of that. Yeah, but I never blame my mom. I feel thankful a little bit, because it makes me not become a bad person, probably. Anyway, but I think I always look at the direction and the dynamic. So we play in between the dynamic of the performance. So we're trying to capture like the essence of each part. Then we try to blend in different sounds. So I did use a bit electronic element from the DAW, the laptop sound, and also use some live instrument. some rattan percussion, but also mixed with some wooden percussion. It's provide a very interesting texture. So it's not
Layering them.
yeah, and then it's like it's not really we have a song thing, but in the end we did a song. We did a song for like singing and also with the kids who dance together. But that's one of the very hard moment for me always, because I almost every time I sing that humming song, I cry every time during the rehearsal and the live show. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Those
So
are
in that
memories.
case, how do you guys ensure the excellence in your work?
The excellence
Yeah.
in our work. For me, the unique thing about Samskara was it was open-ended, and we were ready for an organic, interactive realization. And as Hari and I shared, we had 3 different experiences on each night, and we were open for it. So the music, how Hari was very keen to do this project was he wanted the music to be following the narrative, but it was open to the interaction that we found with the audience that came differently each day. We had an idea about the set pieces, but the music was so interesting, was taken from the emotions that people had from the audience, and that led him to design the music.
That's interesting because I
Wow.
was there listening to him playing in the corner.
Yes.
And it felt like his violin was your voice.
Yes.
So that was very interesting for me
And
to
that's
hear
the
that.
whole thing about nurturing a child or a new generation, is that when they say anak bangsawan, as you would know, when it is a legacy or a lineage, it's like when the child is growing up with a parent who's doing this craft for so long, you don't teach them to do something, right? You nurture them. They have followed this, whether it's rattan making or dancing or music. They have followed the parent and they've understood. So in a way, I'm blessed because the children are in tune, in sync. I've never taught them, but they've imbibed this. So he understood. The one thing he told me when I became a little nervous about suddenly kind of a block is, how am I going to manage this at this age coming back? He said, Mom, just be yourself. I'll take the music cue from you. I want you to be you, and I can write the music easier this way. So the music design became that way.
It's so naturally flowing on,
Flow.
right? I think also it's very important in between your relationship with the mother and son, so that is quite, I think it's very genuine.
Yeah.
It's like the trust is built up so strong.
I think the musician part is that when music has to be written for a production, it's like you contract somebody is different, but you have to spend the time to build that relationship.
Yeah.
So in a work like ours, we kept it open purely from the reality of what I don't have as a fully equipped and financially secure or youthful artist, which I've lived before. But at this age, with nothing and it's bare, how do you design something that is suitable for a society that's present? What is our society undergoing now? A lot of challenges. So how to write a production in that sense. So the music design was something very important in this production. It was interactive while we had set pieces, but he worked along understanding the challenges and then created the pieces. And each day was different. That's what he said. This was so unique. The audience gave me ideas. Their vibrations gave me suggestions how to play. Some days I played it like a erhu. Some days I played it like a drum. Some days I sang and then I cried when I was singing. And someone sat next to me, and that person hummed the tune. I took his humming and made that.
That's great. That's almost similar to what you do because when you also play live, so with yours, I'm imagining if you say that you tap into your emotion and you're playing and you was humming or vocalizing at that time, was it mainly stage or you rehearse or you relied on the reaction from the audience as well? Because I was watching you too, because when I see the performance and I see you at that time, you were like into the whole thing.
Yeah. I think for this performance, from percussion wise, I did a bit interactive to seeing people around me. Like it's really, I mean, if you trying to be sensitive enough, it's easy to capture sometimes the things happen, the vibration around you. although the song actually we did compose, we've rehearsed a little bit, but I try not to rehearse too much also. It's very simple melody, but I'm more into human voice also. Although I'm myself, I claim myself not a good singer, but I like to make sound,
be modest.
make voice, But it's really connected with us because it's not instrument only; it's our own body instrument. So, especially I think the first show, the Rattan Weaving uncle's son is standing beside me. So I was like, today, the first show, I feel okay. Because rehearsal, I think I cried enough. I'm crying enough. But when I start the last song, he's standing beside me and started to cry. So I get affected a lot. And then I can't stop my tears. I need to be stable to, finish the whole song. Yeah.
And you can't recreate that anymore, can you? Right? Because it's a raw emotion.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think
that's what artists do.
Sometimes it's not. I'm trying to not to be emotional, but I think this emotion also really provides something quite genuine and to share with people, among our production with Uncle. Because for me still okay, but for Beijing and the others, all the members, dancers, they already started work with Uncle. So when the second part of second part of the performance, when Uncle Wheelchair coming out, so I was standing like, wow, there's something very interesting going on in everybody's heart, when the wheelchair is putting out. Yeah,
I totally understand what you mean, because when I saw the performance as he grew and suddenly the wheelchair came out, it got emotional.
Yeah.
I can feel the performer getting emotional. I can feel the audience suddenly shift. The whole room changed a little bit. I do understand.
I do feel very interesting now because Samskara is a big thing. So I'm like trying to screw up some essence from there to use a life story to relate with this, I feel
so you see, even us connecting this way, it's like interactive performances are a very good way of healing. If we do it in a stage, if I did it in a stage, we wouldn't have achieved what the musician told me he experienced last night when I spoke to him from Perth. He said, this is something that is very important for the musicians as well.
Yeah.
We like to work with a choreographer or a dancer, and they give us a script. But if the choreographer understands what they want for themselves and relates that to the musician, and giving the musician freedom to actually also explore, then music and dance and movement and art actually is an integrative process.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
Complements one another,
Yes,
it
and
is.
there are some cases where the dancers want this and this and this only, and the music is always supportive, right?
Yeah,
we have to follow the
generally
rules.
sometimes, yeah.
But in my case, I told my musician, that is, if it's Hari, we want to make it a 50-50. I don't own the stage, but I want to make sure that people see the music first and the movement comes.
Yeah.
It's not seeing the dancer first and then seeing. So for me, it's important that the music design I give respect to, because the musician has listened to my stories over weeks and creates that romance or pain or suffering. And the dancer, when comes in, is actually inspired by the musician. For me, that's important. I'm inspired by the music, therefore my movements are created. I don't work on dance first and then music. Then the musician says, yeah, Mom, when I saw you dance, I had new phrases I wanted to play. So you see, that's how it is also, I'm sure. When
to
you have a
inspire
life.
each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like what happened to you too, when that boy was crying, your notes may have changed that day.
Yeah, exactly.
And the wheelchair comes in. So it's like for an audience, the threefold part, we call it the three in like Samskara. We have a triangular, my analysis is between the artist, the spirit and the audience. So in this three-directional thing, which is a personal and a very romantic connection, anything can happen. And it is so magical. So that's what...
It's form a really interesting fundamental there, as you say, but I believe there's a lot of great resonance happen if you open enough. I think
Talking
this is
about
what key.
resonance, also, I'm quite curious when you're talking about working with younger generation. As an artist or creator, what aspect of your work do you have hope will resonate most with the next generation of creator and artists?
For me,
You're a younger generation who are creating
well,
it anyway,
the thing
right?
is that I feel that I believe I'm a game changer. For now 40 years, if I look at it, somebody has said that I envelop and I welcome refreshing ideas. I always felt that I worked with choreographers who allowed new waves of thought. They didn't stop me from exploring. Like maybe I'm lucky. But I saw the same choreographer stop someone else and say, no, you don't think like that, you won't do that, you will follow what I do.
Yeah.
But in my case, they opened the doors to allow me to explore every possible combination. So I was, in the history of Malaysian art forms, one of the few first in the 60s, 70s, 80s maybe. And therefore, I think the new generation has always, evolution of art forms in our country has always been growing. But we are meeting a new way of technology and new thought, and I feel the rebelliousness is different from what we are, what we had. We had complete obedience and obedience 100%. But today, I feel that the children's need, the new generation's need of self-expression, of being heard, is, I'm also including that.
Yeah.
I've taken that into consideration because why wouldn't you want to hear somebody else's thought of playing the notes differently, and you can feel, oh my God, that was me also before, but that has some meaning in my work. So I'm never judgmental of that, and I never say no.
Yeah.
Until and unless they have understood me, they have understood the narrative, they have understood tradition, they have understood discipline, they've also gone through the basic thing, but then when they have a suggestion to explore new things, new ideas, I am always excited about it. So new generations mean, I was also a new generation once.
Yeah, we keep evolving
Yes.
and growing up. But for me also, although I work with, I think, so-called a similar age production team, but
Actually, you're not that old. You are considered new generation now.
I mean, things is getting too fast sometimes. So when things keep changing, it's quite kind of challenging for me also. When sometimes things go too fast, also they lost a lot of. For me, it's like some important accents of the delicate element from people started to develop during the past time. So until now, right? That's why go through the basic, I think, is a very important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's also one of the things that Hari said in his design. The traditionalists will say, why have you moved away from it? But he said, based on traditions only, the classical music cannot go anywhere else. You use that classical training, but you have to evolve it with the changing trends and use it in the way it's projected. And also, as in Malaysia, you can learn the gambus, you can learn Western music, you can learn Chinese erhu, the more you learn, you incorporate that to create, because it's a developing country, it's a developing nation.
Yeah.
We want to establish an identity of what's Malaysian. So the new generation like a Hari, growing up in an environment like Temple of Fine Arts, and especially from a mixed parentage like ours, he has heard sounds of opera from young.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Italian
Yeah.
opera, Chinese opera, and the Malaysian music.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he start looking at it as natural to create his own music that way, while tradition has been part of the foundation? So I think Malaysia is traditional, but we have a lot of flavors of diversity.
Yes. We had
So
different voices,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's what basically.
In fact, it's really how it's make a Malaysia for me. I always think about that. We have different kind of we have many different elements, which is provides a good flavor
Yes.
from each other. But it does, when you combine everything, it's really the strongest things happen. Right?
What you say is true, because like for Ken, he's that type of musician. He used all sort of musical instrument
Whatever
combination
I
as
can
well.
mix sound.
Whatever he can.
So you have a
trying.
mini band around you, is it?
Yeah.
Actually, no, because in fact, I'm a self-taught musician, so I never have a chance to been through a proper school during my time, because my parents not allowed me to work in music like a typical Chinese family.
He creates soundscape, and it's quite
So
nice.
my main instrument is a bass guitar, but I do perform around with cover songs when I start my music journey. So it's from there, and then involved in indie music, and then theatre production, contemporary dance. But I think more important is for me when I have a little bit when I started can play the instrument, I started to look back some of the basic of the music itself and different culture, the music. So I was trying to study a little bit, although maybe I have not enough time to really fully study, but it's very important to look back and really to research a little bit more if I want to borrow the element from a different culture, different music, different genre.
I'm
have to
also
do your
curious when
homework.
you say borrow from different culture. Let's say if I use a rebab and I'm playing it, even though I don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And when you create sound from the rebab, is it that you just use the instrument or you're using?
I did have a song with rebab, my own song, but I'm asking someone to playing that. But I used the music on the DAW to try to play with that. So because I really like that the sound come from there, but you can't copy with other instruments. So it's itself like have a very strong character. So that's so called how we use the technology, to play with the music, but trying not to mess up with it.
The musician, a good musician, always respects the value that the instrument can give, and they also must do justice to it, because they will say, if I can only produce this, I have to study the violin or the rebab enough to know what it can do further from here. And you have to go to a master also, I suppose. You have to go to a master to understand how the master originally played it. And then when you spend the time, then you can explore and make it yours. I suppose it's that with any dance form or musical instrument as well, because the instrument has to become you. You have to adapt it into your own.
I think that happens. I can see in both of your productions. The music is part of the performance and part of you and related to the audience as well. That's fascinating talk today. I'm really enjoying it. Well, that's about it, everyone. Thank you for joining us and listening to us today. And that's all we have for you. Until next time.